Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. It is time for my good old standby, my favorite Friday, some nice old-fashioned obscurities in literature. And I'm not one to gloat, and I'm certainly not one to brag, but when I happen to get this copy of the Monster Hunter Rise official works book, it was labeled as damaged. It's because it's bent. And I paid a fraction of the cost for it. That has a cover price of 4,200 yen, and I paid probably close to 10 bucks. Okay, so I'm like, if my book's kind of, bendy, I'm okay with that. You can see it kind of sits kind of funky, kind of up the corner there of the spine, not the spine, but the opening, flap, whatever you want to call it. I ain't gonna complain. I truly am not. So yeah, I'm super happy I got a hold of this. Rise is a game that I spent a fair amount of time with, and I've said many times, if you haven't heard me on this channel before, I am a avid Monster Hunter fan. Started with the very original when I think I had just started teaching my roommate at the time, because I was that poor. I don't even think I was thinking I definitely met my wife, but we weren't even living together or anything. But he had one of the PlayStation 2 modems. One of the few people I knew who ever owned one. So we actually did get to play this online for a very limited amount, which we thought was the coolest, because the two of us had spent way too much time playing Phantasy Star Online in the age of the Dreamcast. Thank you. This fly is joining me for the video. I'm sick of it. It's like it got really hot and they were everywhere, and now it's getting cool for some reason because we got these crazy storms going on in California, and now they're all back. Go away. So Monster Hunter is something I am not the best at. I'm not great at. I'd like to say I'm pretty decent at playing. I never got to Fatalis on the original game. I put in hundreds of hours across the PlayStation Portable versions. I know I had at least 2 of them in Japanese. I didn't get the original Portable. Definitely started with 2. I don't remember the 3rd at all. Or was it the 4th? Whichever one had the bear for the first time. Like Yukumo or something. I don't even remember. It's been a while. Played it on the 3DS. Played a lot on the 3DS. Played with my son on the 3DS. Played with Percival Sparkle Trout on some system at some point. I think. We played that on the Wii. But Rise I really enjoyed. Rise was kind of a return for me. I hadn't played in a while. I think Try was probably the last game. We have World. We own Iceborne. My son played the snot out of both of those, and I didn't feel like starting it up again because I just didn't have time to be sitting in front of a TV all day. Well, now that I finally have a decent computer, after, saving all my pennies up from Google, YouTube, Patreon, whatever, I needed a new one. And one of the best things, besides the fact that I can play Monster Hunter again, is that uploading, editing, attempting to edit, working on 3D files, I actually can get things done in a matter of seconds, what used to take a few dozen minutes. So that's really nice to feel. But anyway, Rise was the first game that I really put significant time into since the portable options back on the Switch. And I distinctly, vividly remember having a lot of fun with it, playing online. The summer that my wife and the kids were visiting back in Japan while I stayed home to hold down the fort and take care of the dogs and probably go to work or something. So Rise has a really soft spot for me. Not just the fact that I really liked having the Palamutes and running around on the dogs. Not only the fact that you had a lot of armor options to really gear out your cats, but one of the things, I loved the music in Buddy Plaza. I'm pretty sure that's what the area in Kamakura Village was called, wasn't it? Buddy Village? If you haven't heard it, there's like this cutesy little like chorus song about singing about, traveling and hunting together with your friends. It hits you in the feels. It's a really cool little catchy song anyway. But this game was the first that really introduced the idea of a traveling companion. So the dogs, the palamutes that you can use in this game, you could ride them, they'd fight with you. They were a lot of fun to be had. This is also one of the few games that I really remember playing a lot with the insect glaive. So the book opens up to a bunch of, CG renders, but one of the cool things about this game is it really leaned into that Japanese vibe, and I really loved the fact that even on the American version, they kept all of the kind of kabuki style, traditional Japanese stage chanted poems of introduction for the animals. They've got the whole scroll that if you ever see the loading screens on Rise should look awfully familiar. They've got all of the ink drawings of the various animals and creatures that you encounter throughout the game, which I think is a very cool touch. And I don't remember anybody's names. And I'm looking at these and I'm like, I don't think those are the Americanized names. My problem is my son is a regular Monster Hunter player, but he plays it 100% only in Japanese. So he will refer to the monsters by their Japanese names, and I have absolutely no idea what he's usually talking about. So he'll have to show me pictures. I'm like, explain it to me like I'm 3. But yeah, I do like the fact that we have all of the ink representations of both new and classic monsters. We do not have the stuff from Sunbreak. There is a separate Sunbreak book, so if that's of interest to you, do keep a lookout for that. You even have the little ink illustrations of the hunters. And what I love about these books, and I've had Monster Hunter books on this channel before, is the fact that they really spend some time breaking down how the armor looks, works, the layers of it, the various items that you see throughout the villages. There's a lot of time spent going over this stuff, which I think is really cool. Here's some of the stuff from the Buddy Plaza, the various characters, and again, you get a lot of breakdowns on the, rough sketches, the design works of how the characters look, ink drawings of everybody, their companions. I'd forgotten that they all had like a dog that usually travels with them. Renders, illustrations, it's all here. Some characters have a little bit more than others. There's various artwork, a breakdown of the village. Kamura, not Kamakura. It's a totally different thing. For those of you who enjoy the various locales of these games, they do have the cool little breakdowns of the scenes of everything's introduction, along with the poems that accompany a lot of them. If these aren't enough for you in terms of design, you do see more of them later on. Getting into the main bulk of the book, the monster section. Again, we've got the poems that go along with all of the creatures. If you've played the game, they have a very dramatic stage-like entrance in this entry of the game series. I'm jumping ahead here. So you have all of those for the main major boss monster style creatures. But I mean, to me, this is where the real meat of the book is, in that you have the illustrations and early designs for a lot of the creatures along with their renders. This is the stuff I'm talking about. Most of these were totally unused. Some of this stuff looks like creatures that, they ended up using later on. You can see the very samurai-esque influence in our friend here. What is it? Magai Magado? I don't know his name in English even. I don't remember the monkey thingy here. But again, we've got the breakdowns, we've got the artwork, the giant spider, I remember her. And we get this for every creature in the game. Not so much the older monsters. We get the usual just renders of stuff that's been around since forever, the bullfangos. And then after we deal with the monsters, obviously not wanting to spoil too much, we'll let you guys delve into that on your own if you're really interested. You do get a nice look at the various armor sets, in which we then have the breakdowns of all of the weapon designs as well. One page with the armor, one page with the weapons. Unused alternate designs, which are always cool to see. Not going to show you everything, because then you got a good excuse to go hunt it down yourself. Some of these I'm looking at and thinking to myself, I don't remember ever having these sets. Why do I not remember ever using them? I'm like, I don't remember these. And I think that's also one of the beauties of Monster Hunter. You get to a certain point in the game, and it doesn't become Monster Hunter, it becomes Fashion Hunter, and you spend most of your time decorating your characters and trying to make them as awesome as possible. Where's the head? Ah, it's like the Oni dude. What the heck was this twin's name? Was this the guy that, like, the bomber dude? Like, fly over you and drop bombs everywhere? I don't remember. But you even get all of the animal armor in this. Some of these I remember, some of these I don't. And again, that's half the fun. Now, finally, we get into the really rough section of things that were suggested, planned, used, skipped, early dog designs, breakdowns on a lot of the artwork of the villages, the things in the village. So there's just a ton of stuff in this. Really, really a lot. Relationship charts, CG, video breakdowns. Just a lot to see. And if you're like me and you've played plenty of Monster Hunter, owning these types of books is just a whole lot of fun. And as I'm flipping through this right now and recollecting, because it's not like I didn't put, you know, just like 5-6 hours into this game. I probably have at least well over 100 plus minimum. And I feel like that's barely scratching the surface of most Monster Hunter games. But even then, you know, there's always going to be something. There's so many of these games at this point that, unfortunately, for somebody who's played just about every single one of them, and if I haven't played it directly, I've been watching it played in front of me, they do kind of blend together over time. And considering this series has been around for as long as I've been teaching, so a good 20-some plus years, it's pretty impressive that, you know, I can't help but forget some of this and mix things up. There's just so much to it. And like I said, if you're more interested in Sunbreak, there's books out there for that. For Iceborne, for World, they have those. I'm sure we were going to get one if it's not already out there for Wilds. I haven't even looked. It's been a while since I've had a chance to actually step foot into a up-to-date Japanese bookstore. I'll have to ask my nieces because I know they're always out there running around. So, but at the very least, a nice memento for a lot of fun times, good memories, good hunts, and just one of my all-time favorite video games. So, thumbs up to that. With that said, then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.